Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Pillow Fright Podcast. I'm Alyssa. I'm Kay. And we're your three besties here to keep you in the loop with everything horror and be terrified by Emma.
You guys, Longlegs Week was like 6 months in the making.
Is that a new holiday, Longlegs Week?
Yeah. Oh, I have been waiting for this day for like 6 months.
She's been keeping her mouth shut since the June premiere when she got to see it before the rest of us. Pretty good on no spoilers.
That must have been really hard. That must have been really hard to not talk about. But you know what? The day is here. The time has come. The world gets to experience it. And we get to talk about it.
But we still have to wait a minute longer because we're going to have to do horror news.
Horror news. Breaking news. I'm Sylvia Weathers. I don't know.
Gail's sister.
Gail's sister, Sylvia. And it's my time to shine, bitches. Sylvia is just like 10 years, 20 years too late. But anyway. Yeah. So what's going on in the world of horror, everyone? What's the hot goss?
Well, we're going to get so Streambox is going to be bringing us a Halloween slasher. It's called Creeping Death.
Creeping Death. I like it.
Yeah. So it's about a Gaelic deity that is going to ruin Halloween if you are not offering it a treat. Because, you know, everybody deserves a little treat on Halloween.
I like that. I like it.
So this supernatural slasher is the directorial debut of Matt Sampier, where he's also going to be acting it and he wrote it. So a little triple threat action going on there. But we are being promised practical effects, which I'm always hyped for, especially in a slasher. It's going to be he's going to be working with Oliver Poser from Sky Sharks and Multivision FX.
Nice.
And it's produced by Jason Scott Goldberg, who also produced Glorious.
That's our boy.
Jay?
Yeah.
Jay Goldberg.
Jay Goldberg.
Matt Sampier. Good job, guys.
All the names. Yeah. Oh, and it's based on a short film that had some festival success. So we always love to see that when directors get to make something and then people are like, you know what? I'm gonna give you the monies. And that's the dream. So I'm pretty excited to see this.
Yeah, we can never have too many slashers in the world. I am a big proponent of slashers.
And this has been like a labor of love for him. I think it's a lot of DIY. Like he's doing everything himself. So,
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Good for him.
Matt goes to Dead Right Horror Trivia. So
yes. Congrats, Matt.
And we're going to be able to watch this on Screambox this fall.
Screambox is awesome. It's it's an underdog. So I highly recommend downloading Screambox because there's some good gems on there.
We were not paid to say this.
No,
true story.
No. We are not paid to do anything. FYI.
Yes. Dear internet, we are not paid Sims for anything. We just really like horror.
Dear internet, side note, we work 80 plus hours a week for ourselves right now for no monies. It's a labor of love. Okay, back on track. My turn?
Yeah, your turn.
Well, friends. You know those awesome popcorn buckets that come out? Like there was a Dune, Scream, the one right there. That's Regal too, right? Or
no, that was Cinemark.
Nope. You know how movies have been doing some awesome popcorn buckets during their releases? None of what I'm saying makes sense. But at the end of the day, the story is Alien Romulus. Popcorn bucket. Regal will be coming out with a new one, and it looks awesome. I think they look like fleshlights, but I like that. I think that's awesome.
That was the Dune one, you mean? That looked like a fleshlight?
Like
Like,
definitely.
Could you fuck the popcorn bucket? That's the question.
Yeah, it's greasy.
I bet you like 25% of anyone with a penis has tried to do that. Like I would if I had one.
You know what? I will tell you that I read on Reddit. Someone was like, I tried to do that to a Dune bucket and the plastic was too hard. Do not recommend. So yes, there has been someone who has absolutely tried to bone the bucket.
I mean,
bone the bucket TM.
Yeah. Bone the bucket. # bone the bucket.
If not dick shaped, then why not dick?
I mean, that aside, I think they're cool. What does this
They're
say?
like the new collector's item. They really are.
I think they're really cool. I like them. And then the alien one looks awesome.
Yeah.
It's kind of creepy, which I like.
I want it for our set so bad.
I know. I do love it. Like, flashlight aside, I love these buckets. And so let me see. Is there anything else to that, or is that just it?
It's just a fucking bucket.
Yeah, I love it. So yeah, because it's going to be like a xenomorph, I think. Yeah.
You know what, guys? You really need to watch our videos of these episodes, because right now we are wearing some fun costumes, and this is our second week in a row in some cosplays.
Oh yeah, I know that you get a little taste of it with the news that we've been coming out with, but we promise you.
Well, and the news isn't going to say that it's for this movie, so it's just going to be like,
You just have to understand.
the fuck?
We just like dressing up.
All right, well, moving on with the news. We got our first look at Stranger Things 5 today, which was super exciting. They did like their halfway done production, so I think they've got another 9 months of shooting.
Oh my gosh.
But they put out this amazing BTS video that had a lot of shots that are going to be in the show and a lot of like, behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, I was sitting there like, okay, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. Like, trying to spoil everything for myself. I'm so excited.
Did it make you cry? Because every time I see that, all I think about is who's going to die.
Oh, I mean, I have...
it kills me.
I have ideas on that, but you guys will have to watch our social media for those ideas. So
cool.
But yeah, check that out on the Netflix socials.
Nice.
Yeah. So what have you guys been watching this week?
Well, maybe I was in the mood for Nicolas Cage, but he not only does he have a huge movie that came out, but one of his other films just came to Shudder, Arcadian. And Shudder actually released 2 post-apocalyptic films, but these are extremely different. One of them is a horror comedy with eyebrows. Gallagher, what's his name?
Oh, Peter Gallagher.
Peter Gallagher. Arcadian is Nicolas Cage and Fucksticks. Why can't I think of his name?
Fucksticks. He's my favorite actor.
Fucksticks. Yeah, from It actually, which is funny.
Fucksticks
from It.
Sounds like a SoundCloud rapper.
It could be the album. Yeah, Fucksticks for life. Okay, so Arcadian is Nicolas Cage as well as Jaden Martell from It and Maxwell Jenkins, who was in Sense8.
Oh, okay.
So it's essentially like, no spoilers, but it's post-apocalyptic, but they don't really say what caused the apocalypse, but it's a creature feature. And I did think it was kind of interesting that the cinematography almost started out a little found footagey, like kind of shaky cam, but not. And then
you were into it.
I was into it. I do love found footage, but then that went away towards the end, and then I was confused. I did
not found footage. What do I do? That's exciting. Yeah,
I would suggest watching it. It's. I love interesting takes on the apocalypse, especially considering every day we're like, oh, this could be tomorrow.
One step closer.
We don't know what's going to happen.
Cool. I watched the movie we're talking about today. I watched The Boys and House of Dragon, but that's for another podcast.
The Boys is a good horror show, though, sometimes
really
because
is.
the effects are...
The gore, great in that show.
Wait, did you watch the most recent episode?
Uh-huh.
Oh, my God. Honestly, the gore they do in that is literally top fucking tier. I know
it's so good.
Yeah, so this is going to be a first. I didn't watch anything else either.
Wow.
I know. Well, I watched That Thing You Do, but I don't think that counts as a horror movie.
Listen, in their real life, there were some horrific scenarios like, shame on me for kissing you so tightly with my mouth closed. Wait, what is she? With my eyes closed.
Shame on me for kissing you with my eyes closed so tightly.
With my eyes closed so tightly.
Liv Tyler, calm down. Tom Everett Scott forever.
Every single person, human in that movie, I would.
Right.
Anyway, yes.
But let me tell you guys about, because I saw Longlegs 3 times.
Yeah.
And the last time I went to the Vista.
3?
3. I've seen it 3 times.
Jeepers.
Yes.
It's definitely a movie to see more than once, I think.
Yes, because Kay and I got to go to the premiere last week, which was amazing. But then my husband was feeling like, the left outness. And he's like, we got to go to the Vista and see it on 35 millimeter. I'm like, all right. So we go. And first of all, I was like, I didn't think it was going to be packed, because why would everyone go to this, pay like premium theater prices when you could go see the movie anywhere? It was freaking packed in the middle of the day, Saturday. And it was my first time at the Vista since they did all the remodels, since Tarantino bought it.
I haven't been there in like 10 years, I feel like.
Oh, it's incredible inside. I need to tell you guys about the most ridiculous part. So yeah, so we're going there and like it's hot, parking sucked, getting in was crazy. And he's like, go get us snacks. So I go and I'm like really thirsty because it was like 100 degrees out. And like my first thought was, what the fuck? All they have is RC Cola, or like all these vintage sodas. So I'm all pissed off because, as you all know, I'm a Diet Coke fiend, and they did not have Diet Coke or anything made before like 1960.
Fucking love that.
But then I ordered an Orange Crush for the first time in my life. Amazing.
You've never had an Orange Crush?
I've never had an Orange Crush, and I loved it so much. And so that I may not have seen anything else this week, but I tried Orange Crush for the first time, and it was like eye-opening. My favorite part of the premiere is like, first of all, like taking you to like a big Egyptian screening and like going with you, and then like
being your date,
sitting next to you, and all of a sudden like you're just like shaking, and like I felt like that part of like 50 Shades of Grey when he's like, welcome to my world. I was like, yes. It's like, no, not in a perverted way. Like, I'm making her a big cinema nerd.
I will say I actively realized my leg was like going crazy, and then I felt bad because I was like, oh, there's people on either side of me that I'm like obnoxiously vibrating. They didn't pay for 40X, but like you got it. And my favorite part of it is when I realized that my hands were like this, like I was clutching my pearls, but then I looked over and you were too, and I was like, yay. But you'd already seen it. That was crazy, is you were doing this and you were gasping at parts and you'd already seen this movie.
And like the funny thing is, like, I did it the third time too. Like, it's like the dread that this movie like creates. You know, I know that we've gone really hard promoting it online and people think that we're getting paid to say it, but I swear we're not. I swear. I'm going to reiterate that this movie gets me, man. Like it just instills this amount of dread that like I don't know how to deal with it. Like the anxiety.
Well, and I know we talked last week a bit about the marketing. In general, we were talking about, you know, all the summer films doing their marketing. Yeah. But Longlegs did marketing up until basically the premiere. They did 3 weeks of the online. They had the billboards. They were very good about the trailers, which we didn't talk about that much. But with the trailer, reminded me of another movie that we have this month where they didn't want to reveal the killer. So they made it a very big part of the marketing to not reveal that actor. Except for Micah Monroe, they did not reveal. You knew Nick Cage was in it, but they did not show his face. You got like a split second glimpse where even if you were doing a frame by frame, which I did, you do not see a lot of his makeup, a lot of the Longlegs character.
They did such a great job because in today's age, obviously, it's so easy to just get a spoiler, get a bootleg. I can't look at you. Emma's dressed as, we probably already said it, but she's dressed as Longlegs. So I can't look.
No, we didn't say who we were dressed as. We just said we're dressed in cosplay.
Well, if you're watching it, you know, Emma's Longlegs, and she's not breaking character. The podcast has really shown Emma that she does like acting, and she's a great actor.
I think I just like being silly.
No, it's great. I'm Micah Monroe.
Yeah, you do always pick last week you picked Pearl, which was the most obnoxious of the characters. You just like picking the most obnoxious one.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
And I just want to have blood on me.
Embrace it.
You can ask Alyssa. One time we went to trivia in a group costume, and I was a Cheddar Goblin for Mandy, and I stayed in that costume for like
3 weeks.
Oh, she literally just went like this.
Like we went out drinking after, and I was like grinding on people and like, I am the Cheddar Goblin.
Oh my gosh. My one quick general, not my one, I have a lot, but general, I saw this the night after my birthday. Would not recommend.
Oh yeah.
Would not recommend. That was a little scary. Not going to lie.
Didn't know this was going to be birthday themed. I mean, so.
You know, the birthday murders according to the marketing and all that. But, you know, I decided on a whim to see it. It was 11 p.m. showing, and there was one other person who had tickets at the time in the audience. I thought this could either be amazing or I will be murdered tonight. And I'm here, so I survived. But that was scary. It was, I would have been, you know, I would have would have been in trouble in this world.
Yeah.
Well, it's like that fake viral video that was going around of like supposedly like a serial killer going to see Longlegs or something.
Yeah, that was weird because
Oh God, I'm glad I didn't see that when I saw the movie.
yeah, it was people were saying that they left the movie and went to see Longlegs and had to leave because the FBI cleared the theater because there was a real serial killer. And I saw 2 different videos.
Yeah.
Of saying that. So I don't know who came. I don't think that was by the theaters though. I think that was a prank, right?
Yeah, something, because I know, or just reviews, because the footage was from like 2017.
Okay, so it was
Oh.
definitely.
That's how, like, I was like looking at the posters in the background. I was like, oh yeah, no, that's not right.
Oh, that's scary.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, the people doing viral reviews of Longlegs, there is a trend on TikTok at least that's like me going into Longlegs, me leaving Longlegs, and they'll be like people going in, popcorn, movie, happy, and people afterward.
That was like you.
That
like,
was
legitimately
me.
you.
Dude, and it didn't even hit immediately. Drive home. Normally after seeing these movies, I try to just like record random word vomit into my phone to keep notes. And so I'm thinking about doing that. And I didn't even turn music on the drive home. I just sat there in my own fucking silence and late night car noises. And it started to sink in, like, the experience, because, we were at the premiere. So right afterwards, it was kind of like, oh, this was crazy, but you're around all these people and there's still all that hype and that energy. But once the energy subsided, it's like once the adrenaline rush crashed, I was just like, and like shut down as a human. I don't know who the person is in that video. And I remember someone left a comment of being like the dramatic pauses. I was like, bro, you should have seen the actual dramatic pauses. They were like 5-minute pauses of me just staring at my like off camera, just being like,
I mean, it really is. That's a great way to describe it, is that seeing this movie, it's an experience. And I think that's where the reactions come from, because I'm not the biggest fan of hype. Oh, this movie's the scariest movie of the year. Like, I don't like that, because then I'm wondering, what's wrong with me? How am I broken? I'm not scared. Like, when I see stuff. And I will say, like, I will be completely honest. I think even though I didn't pay attention to as much as I could not pay attention to, I was a little affected by it, because I feel like I could have been more scared if I didn't pay attention to any of the marketing. But I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because they did such a great job with this marketing that I'm not even complaining about it. But
yeah, I mean, this little indie movie is like second in the box office right now.
only to Despicable Me.
Only to Despicable Me 5 or whatever.
Which they're making fun of. They're still going strong, which is so cute.
I mean, $20 million on opening weekend is nothing to laugh at with the economy of theaters right now.
that's amazing.
Good for them.
Biggest horror movie opening of the year. I do think that this film was a labor of love, and it showed.
Yeah.
Not just at the premiere, or even the footage of him talking at the Arrow, that early premiere that you went to, where they spoke a bit more before the film, but you could tell how proud Osgood Perkins was of this movie, and how proud everyone was who worked on it.
Oh.
And that's why I think the viral marketing worked so well, is because they were so excited to share it with us that they were like, we're just going to give them a little something. We're going to give them something.
Well,
and that was great.
I also think that Neon, the company that put it out, from what I understand, they saw the movie. They're like, hey, we really get this. Do you trust us to run with it? And they're like, yeah. And so they really came up with a lot of marketing, and like they really captured the entire vibe of the movie and like the aesthetic. So good on them.
Oh, that's great.
It's a really smart PR team.
Yeah.
And to me, they're like the new A24. Like the stuff that they've come out with in the last year, the way that they love movies, the way they support filmmakers, like, is next level.
I mean, I knew Neon, but I didn't even realize exactly who Neon was until this year, because they're just like cranking them out, but they're all great so far. So good on you, Neon. These are really good.
Yeah, these were delicious and dangerous.
Delicious and dangerous. That's what I'm called on Saturday nights. Jesus Christ. Okay, let's just get on.
Bloody side-eye.
Bloody side-eye. That's my favorite sex position.
Whatever, like excited as you're wearing your compression socks and like watching
Oh,
Jersey
I love
Shore.
my compression socks. Are you kidding me? The compression socks are the shit. They act as knee highs.
Oh my god.
My sexy compression socks.
My sexy compression socks. Well, we are on our third week of serial killer summer, Kellogg's crusty butts. We're on our third week, and we are here to talk about the movie that I think a lot of us have been waiting for, which, if you can't tell, is Longlegs.
The scariest film of the decade.
They say it's the scariest film of the decade.
Back in my day, there was a man named Osgood Perkins.
Back in my day, we only had his dad.
My mom said last night that she talked to Anthony Perkins before, and it made me really happy.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah. So what's the synopsis of this film?
In pursuit of a serial killer, an FBI agent uncovers a series of occult clues that she must solve to end this terrifying killing spree.
Nice.
Insert trailer here. Insert trailer here. But this film is directed by Osgood Perkins. His former work include The Black Coat's Daughter.
Mm-hmm.
The pretty thing that lives in the house.
Yeah. None of which are available on streaming.
Gretel and Hansel.
Yeah, also
Yes.
not available. Shame on all the streaming services for not capitalizing on his works right now, because if I ran a streaming service, I would do that. But it's also, I understand the movies are probably like, yeah, well, pay me.
Legally Blonde.
His film credits include Legally Blonde, Psycho 2.
Not another teen movie.
I know, I forgot about that when that came up. I was like,
When she's
I don't
like,
remember him.
I'll shit on your chest or something. He's like, that's okay. Oh, no, he's like, we just made out 5 minutes ago. Like at the party.
That's him?
Yep.
oh, okay. Because I was like, I was going to rewatch that movie and then I didn't want to.
I love that movie.
No, it's fine. But you're like, I got to be in the mood.
So guys, just quick thoughts. What did you think of the movie? One sentence.
Happy birthday to me for sure. Good birthday gift. Good birthday gift. Full of dread.
This film is not a scream. It's a gasp.
I like that. I like that.
Hail Satan.
Yep. We're trying to wink and it's
Aren't you
not
glad
working.
that I made you guys wink in so many fucking videos?
So many videos.
Like, why the fuck are we doing this?
Some people can wink, some can't.
I was confused with, because you had seen the movie, but you were saying these things. And I was like, I don't understand. It doesn't fit what the trailer is saying. But like, that is the other thing, is the trailer did not give. I thought that, trailers give away too much. This trailer,
Nothing.
I have more questions.
They did
now.
it right. That's how trailers should be.
Yeah.
Agreed. I honestly think that film companies need to learn to trust the audience.
Exactly. And we talked about that in the first video that we ever did on this channel. Also, I thought that Hail Satan was a spoiler too when you said that. So I was like, why are you doing this?
No.
Okay. So
Holy balls aside.
yeah, it got real hot. All of a sudden now we're very sweaty. But you know why? It's because I think we're heading into Spoiler Town. So we got real sweaty getting into this.
Spoiler Town gets heated.
Yeah. So, this is a new release. So obviously, if you have not seen this movie, that's okay. We gave you the briefing that you need to know, but you should go see it and come back and then watch our Spoiler Town discussion of this because that I'm pointing to Emma's face right now. That's all you need to know. All right, let's get into it. Spoilers now.
I mean, it's hard to go even into spoilers because so much of this movie was just me sitting there in tension, freaking out. And afterwards, I was like, I don't think if you asked me the plot of this movie and you asked me a timeline of events, I would just be like,
It makes sense. I mean, luckily, Emma does that research for us.
She saw it 3 times.
Yeah, and for our listeners at home, just so I don't sound like a know-it-all, one of my duties on the podcast is to do a lot of the producing. So I do the early fact checking. So I'm not a know-it-all hoe. No. I just
Big ol'
even
nerd.
if you were, own it, bitch. But yeah, so this movie right away filled with dread. Literally the minute opens, you know what movie you're about to get into.
I love it's on this 4:3 aspect ratio.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of aspect ratio changes throughout the movie, which is really cool. A lot of the flashbacks are done like almost square. And, you know, once it goes modern, it goes like 16:9. So,
Yeah.
Which is really cool that they incorporate that, is that the flashback isn't just like, you know, I'm trying to think of how other movies do it. Well, they'll put it like a different color grading for the flashback, or they'll put a weird blur on it or something. But this one, you actually got film.
Yes, I love that.
And I had to look it up because they did such a good job emulating film. I was like, was this shot on film? It was not. But
Really?
yeah, it does have it has a film-like quality.
I like that.
Yeah. And also that she had a Polaroid camera in the opening scene. She's holding a Polaroid camera, and it puts you into a decade, like just like everything you're looking at. You know, you're in a flashback because of this reason, without it having to say like a time thing.
Yeah.
They don't do that throughout the whole movie. They don't say what decade they're in.
No, and you know, it's interesting the way they do it, like, because the movie's set in the 90s. So one of the opening, you know, establishing shots is just a picture of Bill Clinton.
I was going to say, you know what time period you're in, because at the FBI bureau, it's Bill Clinton right there.
I read a random fact that originally the script was set in 1992, but he changed it to 93 because he wanted Bill Clinton and not George Bush.
And also, and I was going to get into this later, but that's the year after his dad passed away. And fun fact, this article, I'll talk about it later, but there's a whole reasoning behind like a deeper meaning to this film that I had no idea about until I read it. But he's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a huge Oz Perkins fan before this movie. And, you know, to me, I think he's just like cemented his place in horror history.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Love it or hate it, which there have been mixed reviews. There's been, you know, greatest horror film of the decade. And then there's also been, I mean, there was one article that was like, this was touted as the scariest film, but it's actually hilarious, but it's still great. And, you know, it's fine. It's going to be, everyone is entitled to their opinion. It's going to be different.
Yeah. There's going to be people who hate this.
And I do believe it is certified fresh at around 90. So that's a pretty good score.
Well, and I saw some people that we talked a little bit about the comments of people being like, I don't know. Or if you say that a movie is like, this is the scariest film, people threw up, like it's thrown around so much now that it's hard to believe it. So when they said scariest film of the decade, I was kind of like, is it though? Is it going to be the scariest film of the decade? I mean, I don't know. It wasn't like jump scare, haunted house, oh, this, oh, that. But someone after the film, when we left, one of the people we talked to immediately after said it was what anxiety felt like the whole movie. And you said dread. I've said dread, too. Like it is like that. I think that's the perfect word for it. It's not about the like, something's popping out. Something's popping out. It's just an overwhelming and continuous feeling from the get-go of something is wrong.
Well, and I think that's why, because I think a lot of people who might not think it's that scary, that's not the kind of horror that they resonate with. They might be more of the pop out, you know, monster horror or something like that. But this is the kind of horror that affects me. The unnerving, something's off. It's very dark and glooming, and like something can be in the background in the frame and you don't know it. And it could be real life, too. It technically could.
I mean, I think it's fair to say that this movie falls into the slow burn category.
Yes.
Though I will say also it's very entertaining through the whole thing. Even like the slower, more real life scenes, like you're so wrapped up in the mystery of it that you're just like, what's going on? What's happening next? You know?
Well, there was always something to look at.
Yes.
And even in the parts that maybe were more slow, those were where I was thinking something's going to show up and I need to catch it.
Yes. The thing that I think impressed me the most that I did not expect was the way that it was shot, how everything was framed in the center of every single frame.
Yeah. I mean,
I was going to ask you about that because I don't know.
Let me give you my
Yes.
No.
She had glasses to like.
I know.
Actually. So most of his movies are shot that way. And what's really interesting when you think about it is because he loves these, he tends to gravitate towards these like wide angle lenses. So anything with a lens that's wide, the edges distort like crazy. So you have to keep things in the center. But if you look at the movie, there aren't a lot of close-ups.
No.
And then it's so it gives it this sort of like voyeuristic, like,
I was going to say it's impersonal
feeling,
and
yeah.
you're thinking, what should I be looking
Yes.
at? Because I know that this is center frame. I know this is the subject what we're supposed to be focusing on, but my eye is wandering.
Yes, but if you're moving your little peepers around that frame, there's stuff in the background, and I mean, I guess since it's spoiler territory, there's a lot of like shadow Satans.
Which I didn't notice.
You didn't notice any of the shadow Satans?
I mean, I noticed. I think there were a couple obvious ones that I didn't put together until you mentioned there were shadows. But now I'm going to go back and see this. And ooh,
yeah, even seeing it, the third time, there was still some that I was missing that Brandon caught.
ooh, like what?
Sorry, go ahead.
I guess there's what when like she almost opens the basement door.
Yes.
So I guess you could see like Satan eyes above the door. I did not see that one.
I don't think I caught that one.
No. And then I guess when at the end of the movie, when she's at Blair Underwood's house and like they close the door, I guess in the reflection of the door, you can see Satan.
It's little details like that.
I did too. And I still didn't see it. Like he told me after. I was like, fuck, like, I want to see it.
I think one of the biggest audience reactions plus my reaction was, and this is later in the movie, but it's the car and the female FBI agent who's played by Michelle Choi Lee. She's sitting in the car and the nun character is off to the side, but because everyone's so focused on the center, it took me a minute, and then I heard audience members and myself,
Did she have the doll? Was she the doll?
No. It was just her in the habit.
Looked like it was the doll in the habit, and then it was her when I first saw it, and I was like, "That's terrifying."
I think it's because she was kind of off focus. And then, but the shape of the doll is the shape of a nun's habit because it's like a veiled thing. But I thought that he kept everything so front and center until a key point where he put it off to the side. Super effective choice. So the fact that he acknowledged that he's doing this. And so he's like, he made us comfortable with looking to the center until he needed us to not be.
Yeah.
Really, really effective.
Yeah. This entire movie, every single thing is well thought out. Everything has purpose. And I think that's a sign of a really good filmmaker and a really good team. But let's talk a little more about this opening scene because we could talk forever. It is so scary.
I mean, you have your first opening scene. My opening scene is, that opening scene is creepy, but like the get-go and the modern opening scene freaked me out too. So like it just keeps going.
Yeah. But so the opening in the movie where we're on this square aspect ratio, you see his like car pull up and I love all the tones. It's all like white on white on white.
And this is part one, his letters, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's before his letters.
Yeah, they don't do dates. They don't do dates in the flashback, but they do it's a three-part.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like you see the little girl, the little version of Lee, and you automatically know this is like going to be your main character, I think. And, she's looking around because she sees the car pull up and she hears the cuckoo. And, she like turns around and like that's the first glimpse we get of Nick Cage. But because he's so much taller than her and it's her point of view, that we're not getting anything like past his lips.
I love how they do that.
And it's like, and it kind of gives you like the origin of like the name Longlegs. Cause he's like, all I have are these long legs. And that's so creepy to me. The fact that his name basically means like long legs because he's gonna like bend down to be short to like because his victims are short. Creepy. But yeah, that the opening buzz and the way that it gets you when she takes his picture it gets me every fucking time.
It's terrifying. I mean,
and that's one of the few like jump scare type of things in the movie.
Yes, and it's not even technically. I mean, it's not a jump scare, but it is just the way that it happens.
It's being called a stinger, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there aren't actual jump scares for the sake of jump scares. But like
I would say there's one.
Like the in the head. Like there's a couple that were like, oh God. Like, yeah.
But so then we flash forward to her, like I guess her modern day is like 93, we said.
I think I thought it was 92, but it's
in the script it's 92. They changed it to 93 because of the Bill Clinton thing.
Got it.
And, she's at the FBI now and they're assigning, door to door for all the young agents to look for a manhunt for a serial killer.
Yes.
And she's paired with this dude and they kind of make this thing. I'm just like, Why does he keep looking at her? Like, I don't know if I quite understand that. Also, that dude looks exactly like my college ex-boyfriend, I swear to God.
It is your college ex-boyfriend.
It really is.
Surprise. That was the minute that they drove in that neighborhood. I was like, okay, I want to live here. A. B, just the weather that I don't know if that was, I'm assuming that was intentional. Did they manipulate that?
Oregon.
Or is that, it was Oregon. Oregon.
Oregon.
And as we know from Twilight, that area of the world is very
it's my dream.
Rainy, foggy.
I love it. I would live there in a minute. But just that, I love how that just goes to show the weather you're filming in, or you manipulate and post, however you do it. That establishes your atmosphere, the tone. And it's just, that, oh my God, everything's gray and damp and just.
Well, and so she gets there and it's this long line of like a weird line of houses where I was like, this is like cul-de-sac, but off.
It's like tract houses.
Yeah. And this is where, which I wasn't really expecting, where they introduce a supernatural element of she just like gets out and they're going to do, let's start over here, blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, that one.
Yeah.
That's the one. He's in there.
She just knows.
And it's just like, I was genuinely confused. I was just like, she's a psychic? What's happening with this? How does she know?
And it's weird because he's just like, oh, well, I'll do the part where I knock on the door and you do the part where you hang back. I'm like, what is that about? Like, I'm like,
I mean, that was a very,
good cop, bad cop, but
very Silence of the Lambs vibes at that point.
It was a little like maybe like misogyny of just like,
Well, that's how it was back then too. And I think they did a great job in Silence of the Lambs portraying that too. Yeah. Just you're a woman and, your place is not to be in the action field of it all. But
then, so he walks away and she gets out of the car and she's just looking around and just her spidey senses are like, that's the house. Mm-hmm. And she's like, we should call it in. And he's just like, no, we can't do that on our first day. It'll look bad. Kind of thing.
He said, I'm not calling everybody in off of your hunch.
Yeah.
Or like he says something. I don't remember if the word was hunch, but it's essentially like, I'm not going to make everyone show up here because you're like, I'm pretty sure it's that one based on nothing.
I mean, to me, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong. Like, that's a legit thing of like, no, that's not how this works. Yeah. Like, that's a crazy waste of resources.
Yeah.
I mean, she wasn't wrong, but at the same time, love that. Fucking that instant side gunshot to the head.
Made me jump.
And
then he's at the door. He's like, hey, we just had some questions. Boom. And you think it's supposed to be Longlegs, or you think they found, because I thought that they were supposed to be finding Longlegs at the time. So, someone different.
She like goes to the house and he's just like waiting for her upstairs. And then it cuts to her in like a testing room.
Yeah.
And on my third watch, I noticed something very interesting in this testing room. I'm kind of wondering if you guys noticed it too. So they're basically running her through like some visual stuff, which I believe it's Oz Perkins' voice. I don't know if that's true or not, but like they're just like,
what's the first thing you think of when you see this?
Yes.
And it's supposed to be for like your intuition.
Yeah. And so she's saying things, like piano or whatever. When there's an upside down triangle, she says father. And so,
interesting.
So, I mean, I know it's getting a little ahead of ourselves, but I'm like, Lee is the only birthday girl who doesn't have a dad. And I have some theories.
I can't wait to talk about them.
So,
oh my gosh.
But I noticed on the third time because the different shapes and like, mother, father. And then I'm like, fuck, that's like an upside down.
Interesting.
Inverted triangle, as she calls it in the movie. So,
wow. Okay.
I didn't catch that.
But and so that whole thing, they're like a number between 0 and 100, 0 inclusive, and then they run through numbers. They don't tell us what she gets right or wrong. But then in the next scene, when she's sitting in the back of
Blair Underwood and Michelle Choi Lee's, so it's Agent Browning and Agent Carter.
Yeah. When she's in the back of their car and they're showing her like the first location, they're just like, how'd you beat the number thing? And she's like, well, I also missed half of them too. So.
Right. But it's the odds. But that's the thing is there's been a lot of, I notice, other movies have talked about it or done, but they did so much of this psychic testing back in the day. It's like a legit part of the CIA, FBI, where they they released a lot of these documents. They legitimately were trying to find out if people could be psychic or mind control. So,
because it's a very intuitive field too. So it's,
but even in psychology, like all the, what is it, INFP stuff, like it really relates back to that. Like a person can be intuitive. You can be someone who picks up on little things around you. Like that's real science, So it's not, I think a lot of psychic, so-called psychic ability isn't too far off from that. You just pick up on things that other people aren't.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a legit thing that they did. And then they brought her in. They're like, hey, we got some weird stuff going on. And, we're obviously not figuring it out. So let's bring in this person and we're going to see if you can stare at a wall of shit and figure out where we're going, which I love. Because it's that part of like, we're going to bring the rookie in because like, obviously we fucked up. I can't figure it out.
Right.
But that's not what they say.
They say they make a joke about her being half psychic. And, they take her in, they show her the evidence. She goes in a room by herself, which there's another Satan there.
Oh, God, I can't wait to see this again.
Yeah, I missed that Satan.
Room Satan.
Yeah.
I can see the red carpet, though, because it's in the trailer, too. So I saw it a lot.
Yeah, it's in the other shot. Yeah. It's not the above shot. It's the side angle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, she's sitting there. She's staring at all the evidence, all the cipher stuff, all the notes, all the crime scene photos, and she falls asleep.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, nap time.
I mean, I think it's just to show that she's been there for a long time. And, Agent Carter comes in. He's just like, let's go get drunk.
She's like, I'm not, or I don't want to drink.
Yeah. He's like, well, I need one.
Well, I need to drink.
He says like something like, that's okay. I'll drink and you tell me things.
Right. Exactly. I love
They go to a very fancy little bar.
I know. I wanted to go there.
But I'm like, what is this cop bar? And like, why are these like swanky 60s flight attendants sitting behind him?
Yeah. But at the same time, I don't think that's not a cop bar. That's an FBI agent bar. That is a fancy hotel bar.
That's for the FBI.
Yeah. And it's very pretty, leather and green. And it's supposed to show that like they're not a cop going to a dive bar. They are the FBI agents. And if they're going to discuss a case, they're going to do it on these tough leather sofas. Like,
why not?
Yeah.
And at this point, I love how much they're establishing that like Micah Monroe is just painfully awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because it reminds me, she's kind of a perfect blend. She reminded me so much of Will Graham and Clarice, just behavioral wise. And the way that like her character was like kind of Will Grahamish, but then how others perceived her was like Clarice kind of in a way.
I heard her in an interview talk about how she really based like her character on sometimes with childhood trauma, people stop maturing at a certain age and their brain kind of stays there. Yes. And that was like one of the things that she really was using to like build her performance is that, her brain, she's stopped developing at a certain age and she's just kind of stuck there.
Wow.
But yeah, so, they talk about the case a little bit and like, I don't really feel like they discuss anything of importance at this point.
Not because he's drunk.
He's like, there's a such thing as staring too long.
Oh, yeah.
And, then he's like, oh, I'm drunk. And he makes her drive him home.
And then he's like, oh, come inside. And she's like, do I have to?
I love that.
I love that so much.
She's like, come on, Harker, come meet my family. And
he's just like, yes, you do.
You definitely have to. Please go have a conversation with my small child.
Yes. I love
so
that
awkward.
scene.
Yeah. I love his wife just being like, okay. We're doing this. You brought home another one.
And she just looks so uncomfortable.
I think it's him being out way too late and not wanting to get in trouble.
Oh, yeah. He's like, lights are on. I'm in trouble.
Yeah. So you have to come inside and be my buffer so I don't get yelled at.
Yeah.
It was really weird, actually, because I was writing my notepad. I forgot to bring my notepad here. But before that scene, I was thinking about how I actually before I went to UCLA, I was trying to transfer with criminology. I wanted to be in criminology and sociology. And I thought, I really want to be there, like work for the FBI, criminal profiling. That'd be so cool. But acting has been my career choice since day one. So I was like, you can't do both. And when she's in the bed in the room with his daughter, and she's like, I want to be an actress. But I don't know. It was kind of cool that I thought about that right before that scene. And I was like, I was the opposite of Lee Harker.
Well, I also just like when she's like, is it difficult? Yep. Like she's just so matter of fact, even when talking to the little girl, like and her sitting on the bed so uncomfortably, which is also how I am around children. So that's fair. I was like, that's legit. And that little girl's just like, yeah, he wants to keep me his little girl, which I was like, afterwards, I was like, ugh.
Oh, yeah. Oh, during that whole scene, I was like, okay, something's going to happen with the family because he's a dad with a daughter and a wife.
And a birthday.
And a birthday. What's going to happen?
I mean, I didn't connect that obviously until way later. And then I was like, no.
I know. The minute he walked through the door, he's like, hey, honey. I was like,
it's very like, what's in the box?
Exactly. I was like,
what's in the box?
But like, I love the little intricacies of that scene. Like she's like, oh, what happened to your statue? It's like a trophy with missing its head. And she's like, I don't know, it lost its head somewhere. And she's like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
And she's
I'm supposed to. I can't find it. I'm supposed to find it. Like that kind of thing.
Like, oh, I guess that's what I was. But it's like one of those like, the scene felt smart to me.
I loved that scene. It was a great scene. So.
Well, and it also introduced Ruby, the daughter, so that we have a reason to go back to her later.
Yeah, because she says, "Can she come to my birthday party?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like,
Ava Kelders. Ava Kelders.
Yeah. She's so good at this character. Ugh.
Wait, is that Ruby?
well, yes,
the
but,
daughter's Ruby.
when you see the other name on there, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I was
'Cause know you
confused.
just noticed it.
I did, and I'm very confused.
Oh, we'll talk about it. It's in the
shit.
credits.
Oh shit!
Yeah, we're going back to that.
Oh no! Okay, I'm gonna have to watch the movie again, but I wanted to break it.
It's not in the movie, but I have your girl's got theories. It's in the credits on the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Star asterisk. Let's bring it back later. I still haven't watched Hereditary all the way through again.
Really?
I can't, and I think this movie actually gave me that same of where I was like, "This is too fucking much, and I
It's
need
just
a break."
that atmosphere, that really your heart's pounding atmosphere.
Yeah, I was like, my heart can't take another viewing right now.
Yeah.
So, I was like, if I forget shit, I forget shit, and I'm hopefully,
It is what it is.
Yeah, it
You
is what it
remember
is.
what you remember. So yeah, at this point, Lee brings her work back at home. Right? She goes home. Which, by the way, I don't know if I worked for the FBI and I was alone, I'd lock all those doors, man. I'd draw the shades. I did what I
That
needed
is
to
such
do.
a nice house.
But it's so beautiful.
Such a nice house.
That's my dream
Her little,
house.
like log cabin-esque vibe.
Oh, it's a dream.
All the wood paneling. But
Love it.
yeah, she's just like she brings her work home. She lives in these creepy ass woods, which also, I guess now that thinking about it, does give that Will Graham and Hannibal vibe of like him living in the woods with his dogs, where like you have to think about it. You see the worst in people as part of your job. I wouldn't want to be around people either.
Yeah.
Like if you actually knew how awful humans were, I would stay away from them too.
Yeah, same with Will Graham and Manhunter. He's like on this isolated beach with his family and nobody else.
Right.
Yeah.
You just want to be far, far away.
Fuck you, world.
So yeah, she has this big old house all to her lonesome. And then
Calling her mom at like 2 a.m.
her mom picks up.
And
Yeah, it's
automatically,
weird.
the relationship is so weird. Like something's
So
up.
weird.
Something's up because you don't know, is her mom okay? Like, because she is slow to respond. She's just, something's weird. And like she kind of regresses too. She sounds like a child when she's talking to her mom. So
Yeah, which makes sense when she was doing that with the character, because that is a thing too.
Yeah.
I had no idea her mom would be so important. But yeah, she's talking to her mom.
Yeah, the mom, just that weird intro to it, like it made my initial thought was like, she's like this because she's being forced to care for her mother, or she's being like her mother is the reason she had to grow up like this. And that really, like, I was like, that sucks. And I like, you get that. And
it almost seems like her mom also doesn't want her to be in the FBI, like the way she's talking. She's like, you gotta be careful, because she said, I haven't seen some great things, blah, blah, blah. And her mom's
Nasty
like,
stuff.
nasty stuff. And she said, I was a nurse once.
For 8 years.
For 8 years.
ugh, such a mom thing to say. God, I hope my family never finds this podcast.
Oh God.
But like, it's also the way that her mom is kind of babying her of like, you shouldn't be involved in this. And it's like, okay, but she's an adult. She picked her career choice. She's not going to like leave it to go teach preschoolers. Like she is an FBI agent. But yeah, something about that conversation where I was just like, everything about her makes a lot more sense.
And there was a lot of pauses too, which I loved, because normally you don't like wasting that time in film. You just kind of like get to it, the exposition, whatever. But I just love the pauses of just like, what do I say next? Like just,
she had to choose what to say to her
Exactly.
mother. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
I
She had to
love
choose.
that.
And then they bring up the birthday, right?
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Because no, that's in the second call.
Is it in the second call?
Yeah. Because she's
But
like,
she has the card, the birthday card.
Yeah,
because then that's when the knocks on the door.
And that's like the jump scare of that was the one legit. I feel like, okay, that's supposed to be a little bit of a
there's like this like police like pound on the door, and then she's like, oh, I gotta go.
Yeah. And this scene was in the trailer, so this scene wasn't like, but it was still the way it was done was super creepy in the trailer. It was not revealing at all, but like this was the only scene where I was like, okay, a full scene was expected. Still creepy.
Oh yeah,
still done well. But yeah, that whole thing of like she runs outside with a gun, someone's inside behind her in the window, which is always so well done.
And then she turns around, and then I thought, was it me or did he? Because my vision sucks. Or did he actually like fade? Because he was walking back towards the door, but it looked like he almost like faded.
I didn't notice that. I would have to relook.
Maybe it was my vision. Yeah, I think I have to re-see. I don't think he actually did. But yeah. Okay.
Because it's just like there's someone in your house, and then there wasn't when she got back.
For me, I would have like called all the cops. I would have
all of them.
And she's just like she runs outside. She sees like a silhouette in the woods, and then she sees a guy in her house, and then all of a sudden she finds what he left her, and like just
don't open till January 14th.
And she's like, no, I'm gonna open it now.
Yes,
I'm gonna open it now.
And that takes us to part 2.
Yes.
So Lee goes back into her house and she sees that he's left her an envelope that says, don't open till January 14th. Of course, bitch gets on her gloves and rips that bitch open.
I mean, at least she does that.
Yeah.
At least she tries to preserve the evidence a little bit. Such a cute little 60s card, though.
Oh, I loved it.
Even though, because it's in the 90s, but that definitely like
was very retro looking.
Yeah, that gives grandma's house.
Yeah.
And we get the cipher, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and that's when she solves it or no?
Yeah.
So, oh God, I'm so sticky.
But yeah, and like, basically at the end of the letter, it gives her, I think, a piece of, sorry, I'm burping. I think a piece of revelation, right? Mm-hmm. And then it tells her not to tell or they're going to fuck up her mouth.
I stood upon the sand of the sea.
Okay, NPR.
Yeah, I should be. I'm so good at that. But yeah, super creepy. And I love that we get the cipher. I love that we start to get all of that. We're getting the mystery. We're getting all the things that we like, because Revelations and all that and the Bible verses were a huge part of the marketing.
Yeah. And he puts he deciphers a note that he gives her, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he gives her the cipher. It's not like she solves it.
Yeah.
Then like we start there's another phone call, right? And she thinks it's her mom, but then it's like, Carter needs you right now. And it's like another crime scene.
I'm trying to remember. Oh, yeah.
I remember.
With the beautiful corpse.
Was such a beautiful corpse.
Oh my God, stop.
I cannot.
I can't. No.
Oh, and they pull that blanket back and she's got she's like kind of bloaty and it's definitely like the face trauma. And
I hate that the minute they did that, I was like, oh, okay, he's going to say that's a beautiful corpse.
It's such a
She's
beautiful
gonna
corpse.
love this corpse. She's going to love it. It really was.
It was so gross.
It was so nasty.
I love how they make like this big deal. And at first, when she first walks into the crime scene, she sees the cipher on the counter and she's like pulls out her tablet and solves it.
Oh, and then Blair Underwood's like, okay. Like
he's like, how'd you do that? And she's like, I looked long enough. And so it's like, bam, motherfucker, suck it.
Like,
fair. Yeah. I missed that part, but yeah.
And it says something like down low, too slow.
Yeah, that was in the trailer.
Oh, yeah. And but yeah, so then they go in the bedroom and you could tell that all the bodies are like laying in the bed, some Serbian film style shit. And they're just like, can she handle it? And he's like, yeah,
she's really fine.
Yep. Yeah. It's just covered in maggot. Oh, because they said they were there for like a month, right? Yeah.
They were having a snick. Those maggots were writhing. Oh, I loved it. It was so good.
So gross.
Like
I love it.
Friggin' Church the Cat's there in a cage.
Oh, yeah. I thought, I mean, I know it's not a reference because that's not this kind of a movie, but
it felt like it.
It looked like Church the Cat, though.
Right. And with the hissing, too. It kind of felt like it a little bit.
It's like the cat did it. Mystery solved.
No, that made me so sad to see the cat.
Like he ate them a little bit.
Wait, they didn't look that eaten, though. To be honest, that corpse did not look very eaten.
I don't know why.
I go for the toes.
In my brain, I thought like the killer put the cat in the crate. But I didn't put it together that like, no, they are taking the cat away. Like,
yo.
It wasn't the killer to be like, okay, here, buddy.
No, it would have died if it was kept in a crate for a month.
Yeah. Oh, God. And then I got really sad.
Oh, poor kitty. He's seen some shit.
I know.
He did see some shit. But that was such a that was so creepy. I love that house.
What comes next?
Yeah, what's next? Oh, that's when they discover the dates, the 14th.
Yeah, she goes through all the dates. She puts it in like a huge calendar and like she looks at like this is the date of the birthday. This is the date of the murder. They're going all the way through and establishing the pattern and then also noticing that it's
Yes.
the triangle.
Yes.
Mhm.
the triangle. Yeah, the upside down triangle.
That's also when you see Bill Clinton's picture smacked
Yes.
dead center. Beautiful Bill.
And there's one date missing from the equation.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't mention it.
Like, why would she not?
Why would she not casually be like, that's my birthday?
Right.
She probably just doesn't want to, cause attention to it, even though she should. But
Well, she does. She blocked it out.
right.
Well, yeah, there's
She
a
probably
point.
doesn't celebrate her birthday.
There's a point in the movie where they say, I think her mom says something like, you see what he wants you to see and you don't notice the things he doesn't want you to.
Yeah.
So maybe that is one of them.
Well, because, she has her little like smoke
Yeah.
spell. So yeah, she probably just doesn't think about it, doesn't
Yeah.
recognize it.
And like simultaneously, like while this is happening, we finally get to see Longlegs. Like he goes to this hardware store.
Oh yeah, it's the
And,
scene.
yeah. And you see him like rocking out to his music on the way there.
He's
and
like T-Rex.
yeah, T-Rex all through this movie.
T-Rex all day, every day.
It's his favorite band.
Yes.
I don't blame him.
And I love the girl behind the counter, just like, Dad.
That was funny. I did
Well,
not
like-
expect that to be kind of a funny
Yeah.
scene.
And
But
I kept thinking like my nerdy filmmaker brain is like, why does this scene exist?
yeah.
What is this doing to move the story forward? And then I realized that there's cameras all around in that store, like surveillance and stuff. So basically, I think that family are the ones who identify him later for the manhunt.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think it also helps to say that he is real.
I was going to say
Yeah.
also too that he's not targeting just everybody he comes across as well. Like it's just like he's
Yeah.
not going to just murder that girl.
Yeah, like he goes to this hardware store and he's getting his stuff because he's like, they've alluded to the fact that he's a doll maker and, he's getting his supplies and stuff. And he like goes to the counter and he's just like messing with this girl. He's like, "Ooh, what's your name, little angel?" And she's just like, "Dad!"
Dad, that weird guy's back.
Yeah.
And then his temper tantrum in the car is like the best scene in the movie.
I thought that would be one that maybe the audience would laugh at. It's like, oh, typical Nick Cage. And I could see how you'd want to laugh for like a fraction of a second because he's like, screaming. Because it's like, I can think of maybe 5 movies right off the bat that he's just screaming in a car in. But, oh man, that's unnerving as hell. Mommy, Daddy, like just, oh my God. Good.
Yeah. Where I would like, this could be funny. I think I was like thinking about that, but I was like, I'm not laughing.
Right.
No, it's tense.
No,
Yeah.
And I think that's a testament to how great it was too. Because again, like the audience was just I could tell because they almost ended up being because there were 2 other people there, and they almost ended up being the shitty ones who talked until they were shushed, and then they were quiet. And I thought, oh, they're gonna laugh at this because it's Nick Cage being Nick Cage, but they were silent. So I could tell they were like, oof.
No, at the premiere, everybody was like cheering and clapping. Like,
Yeah.
So
real
good.
recognizes real with that performance.
I think my face was just like,
It was a lot.
I was like, what the fuck?
It was intense.
What is happening? But that's also where we get like we get the side view of him. And we've gotten like a little bit of the like super fast view. But we have not gotten a full view.
No.
And in the beginning, we only got the mouth. Like we have not yet seen full face.
Yeah.
No, and I
8 by 10.
don't think you do until he's like captured,
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And still, then it's even hard to see.
But
too.
like, at this point we can tell that he's got a lot of botched plastic surgery. Like he's messy looking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which it
And-
was based on that really bad plastic surgery.
Yes.
And I'm only saying this because I'm hoping by the time this goes on YouTube, we could find the actress. There was an article I read somewhere where he's like, he looks just like this one actress and I can't unsee it. And when I saw the picture, I can't unsee it. And I think her name's Carol, but I will find it, insert here, because you will never unsee it.
Well, Nicolas Cage said the portrayal was inspired by his mom wearing like night cream and scaring the shit out of him as a kid. And I was like, yeah, okay.
Cold cream.
Yeah, wearing your Pond's.
The Pond's cold cream.
Pond's cold cream.
Yeah.
I like bought a jar of that just simply out of the nostalgia.
I love Pond's cold cream. I used to use that all the time for my stage makeup.
Legit.
At the early screening that they did back in like, I don't know, a few months ago, Nick Cage said that he had started working on the performance like a couple of years ago, and he based it off of his mom. I laughed so hard because you can kind of see that he's a little androgynous.
That's so funny.
And there's a lot of press out there where Osgood Perkins talks about the makeup being inspired by Bob Dylan and glam rock. Like he's like, this is a rock and roll movie before it's a horror movie, and his makeup's like Bob Dylan on the Rolling Thunder tour with like the white,
oh my gosh,
face. And then the makeup artist took it even further and added all the botch stuff. And I think it was really important to Nick Cage to do like, he says he wants to be in like his, Max Shrek era, like, and just, like disappear into a big makeup. And he did. He
really did.
Well, and I think it was a really good choice to add those prosthetics and take away from a face that we're all extremely familiar with.
Yes.
I think that helped with obviously he was going to give an amazing performance, but I think it helped with the disconnecting the audience from like, this is not the Nick Cage, this is not the Nick Cage,
Well, I guess somebody walked into like one of the editing sessions. It was like, oh, is it Meryl Streep or something like that? Like they had no idea who was under the makeup at first.
Wow.
Yeah. And Osgood Perkins was like, I've done my job.
I love that.
Hey, Nick, you're being compared to the greatest actress.
I have a feeling this is going to be his movie that he thinks back on. Like he's going to have trouble topping this mentally.
Oh, he's already said, he's like, I've gotten compared to Max Shrek, that I've done my job. I know he's thinking about retiring as it is.
No, work with us. I want to work with them so bad one day.
I know the idea of no more Nick Cage movies is pretty
never gonna happen.
Pretty fucking bleak.
Never gonna happen. Okay.
Yeah. So in this scene, basically, Lee takes her algorithm to Carter, and he does kind of like the Michael Scott thing of he's like, explain it to me like I'm like 10 years old.
Oh yeah.
Explain it to me like I'm 4 years old.
Yeah.
He's just like, I have no idea what the fuck this means.
Yeah, it's like triangle. Tell me things. And then she does it. She tells them all this stuff. And then they figure out another family that has.
Yes. And they figure out that there's a survivor,
which is a big deal because to their knowledge, they don't know what this dude looks like. And if it's only one dude, and I mean, they don't think it's one dude. They think it's multiple.
That's the whole mystery of it. He's like, there's no trace of him in these homes. It's, it looks like the dad did it. Or whoever, and then they killed this person, and then they killed this person.
There's
and they
no
killed themselves.
sign of breakage.
So he's like, "Is this like a Manson family thing?" And they're trying to figure out. And she kind of says from the beginning that she thinks that there's somebody else involved.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, it's very like CSI or any sort of like crime movie,
procedural. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, so then they go to this like farmhouse middle of nowhere place, and they go into the barn
because X marks the spot.
And there was the X's.
So they were just following this literal carved in breadcrumbs up to prying open floorboards. When you first think you're going to find a corpse, but it's a fucking doll.
Well, you see the crucifix first.
Oh yeah, and the crucifix.
Yeah.
Ugh. Because definitely think something is buried under the floorboards, and it's going to be the missing girl.
Right. You think it's going to be the corpse.
And and how did they not find her? How did they not find this when they were searching through the house as a crime scene? How is this not something that they look through? But no, it's more nightmare fuel, and it's a fucking doll.
Well, especially larger dolls.
Take your American Girl shit and go home.
Well, didn't they make dolls like back in the 90s that like looked like you? Like you could like order a doll.
You could order an American Girl doll that looked like you. Yeah, you could customize.
Right. I was Felicity usually.
I know, but I could have sworn there was like look like me dolls or something.
Well, it was like they were there, but like.
And because they were bigger than American dolls, they were like almost life size.
I'm pretty sure
that was a thing.
Yeah.
It's stupid. They should never have done that.
But now I want to make one of all of us.
Right? I won't.
I'm going to mail it to you, Kay. I'm going to mail it to you.
She shows up with a black veil on.
Oh, it's the birthday girl.
My birthday is on the 15th. I guess I actually tracks in the thing. If I
There
get
you
this
go.
next year, I'm gonna be so mad
All
at
of
y'all.
our birthdays except you. Well, our birthdays we'd be fucked. But you're safe, I think.
Yeah, on the 20th.
Yeah, you're safe.
Too late in the timeline. You're
We're
good.
fucked. You're safe.
Down low, too slow.
Yeah. But yeah, then they take the doll for an autopsy, which I
weird
love.
though.
Well, because right before that, the doll eyes just open, and that just scared the shit out of me.
Me
But
too.
they treat that. I think okay. I must have been writing something in my notes at this part because I looked down for 10 seconds and I was lost. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Because the autopsy's happening. They're talking about camera and
And I love when he's like, they find the ball bearing in her head.
yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, it's this empty ball, but look what happens when I put the ultrasound up to it.
I heard my dead wife's voice.
Or it's like the
His
fucking haunted
ex-wife's voice.
Benoit vagina balls. Like those are like the Benoit balls, the haunted vag balls.
Oh my God.
They were haunted vag balls.
They were.
Sound emitting vibrational haunted vag balls.
That's what they're called, well, Benoit balls or whatever.
Yeah, Blink-182 made a song about it.
I don't know why this is the balls. That's me.
Because you're supposed to roll them in your
Yeah.
hands. My grandparents had them where you they come in a box that's all like silk lined and shit.
Oh, yeah,
And
we
you're
had them
it's-
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're supposed to roll them in your hands and it's supposed to be fucking soothing or something.
Yeah,
That was
it-
not soothing.
See, picturing it is soothing, and that reminds me of Bowie.
We
in
keep
Labyrinth.
on doing this on camera and this is going
Yes.
to be a problem.
We're tickling balls right now.
yeah, this
This is
is
what's happening.
Anyway, so he puts the ultrasound sound up to it and he's like, oh, and she's freaking out. She's seeing like visions of snakes and shit. Like it is affecting.
Yeah.
which is crazy because when I saw the trailer, I was so confused when that was happening, when it was like the random visions of red and everything. And then it's coming through and I can't say I was any less confused at the time. I was like, where is this going? What is why is snakes and then like blood guts, liquid, black, red? What? I was so fucking confused.
Some devil shit, okay?
I know it's some devil shit, but at the
Red
same
and
time,
serpents.
But like, yeah, when he talks about like, he's like, oh, it's weird. I kept thinking my ex-wife's name and I haven't thought about her in years or something. It's like, it kind of shows you like the mind control that these
Yeah.
things have.
I thought it
over
was that he
people.
heard her voice.
Something like
Something
that.
like that.
I
But
don't
then
know.
he's like, but that can't be real, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
He's
he
like
said I think he
embarrassed.
said he heard her voice like whispering or something, and
Yeah.
then like he was like, but that was
wonder-
weird.
So that, I mean, I love little things like that because he's not a character you follow, but it's like, I know a lot about you now. You think about your
Yeah.
ex-wife way too much.
Yeah,
Well, I
You
think
want
it's
her
just
back.
it's just to go to show that these balls have mind control.
The vag balls, vagina balls,
Mm-hmm.
The haunted Benoit balls.
the haunted Benoit vag balls.
Oh my God. 50 Shades of Grey is coming for us.
I don't want it.
No. Anyway.
Vagina brain.
So then, but then they're gonna go. They're like, well, what do we go to? They basically have to. What do we do first? Do we go see this chick, or do we go to the house? And then they decide to go to the house first, and so they're like, all right, well now let's go to the insane asylum.
It's so cute how they do that too. When he's just like, how far is it to the same asylum? She's like, something like 120 miles. How far to the Camera family farm? 89 miles. Like, it's like she'd already had the thought. She's like,
Right.
come on, let's do this road trip, bro.
And he was like, all right, fine,
Yeah.
let's go.
I love the guy at the desk at the psych ward.
Oh my God.
Fabulous
I know.
guy. And that was the only time there was like bright color anywhere in the
That-
film. Was
that
this like
turquoise,
purple or
yeah.
whatever color wall? It's like there was somebody here and they signed in as Lee Harker. Something.
That guy was so bad at his job.
It was so bad.
And they're
I
like,
love when
so you don't check IDs and like,
But he's like, it's the weirdest thing, She was basically catatonic yesterday, and then she had a visitor, and like, just like out here talking away.
I
Yeah.
wish there was like a deleted scene of that just because not to put in the movie, but I want to see what they talked about.
I know.
I want
me
to
too.
see how that scene played out.
Well, because now we know who it probably was.
Yeah.
But yeah, that guy's just like, yeah, that would be
It's like,
smart.
that would have been good, but
That would have been a good way to run the insane asylum. I don't do that, but
He did not look like he worked there, but
I know.
I think he was the assistant who got promoted early because the inmates broke out and murdered the actual head of the asylum.
he was the odd, colorful man out of the movie, but I loved him.
But like, don't you think that everybody would be talking the next day about a dude who looked the way
Yes.
I don't think it was him.
it was?
Who do you think it was?
I thought it was the mom.
No.
But yeah, so there's that whole scene with Kieran Shippa.
So good. I'm so glad she wasn't in most of the trailers. She was in like one of the latest ones though.
I read that she had a little cameo in it, just like on a fluke. I would have never known otherwise.
Oh,
They
what a
were
good
great.
performance.
She did that in one take.
Really?
That monologue is done in one take.
Good for her.
I read
man.
that. I mean, it might not be true. I read it on like, there was just random facts about the movie. That was one of them that she did that in one take.
If that's true, she's a pro, man.
That's like
She is great.
Like Donnie Wahlberg in Sixth Sense did that scene in one take.
I can't even believe that.
Oh, I keep on forgetting that was him.
Always.
Because he lost all the weight for that movie.
Because suddenly, like, Donnie Wahlberg's this amazing actor.
Yeah,
I know.
you say Wahlberg and I go, ew. But like, then you say that role and I was like, oh shit, okay.
Saw 2. But I like Saw 2.
Oh,
anyway.
no, what about Silence?
Yeah. Wait, was he in that?
Is that him?
Dead Silence?
In my
Dead
head, I'm
Silence.
like, it was like Kiefer
It's a
Sutherland.
Wahlberg.
Yeah, it's gonna be
You're
the same
thinking
one.
Mirrors.
I don't know. They're all the same.
That's Mirrors. Anyway.
So yeah, okay. But she, one take, so fucking good. The short hair, which is giving us like, yes, she's in an insane asylum in the 90s where they like dehumanized people because that was a fun thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the matter of fact way where she's like, if he told me to kill you, I would just do it and you would be dead.
And she's all curled up. She's like, you told me to push you out that window or whatever she said.
Oh,
Yeah,
if she told me,
Please, just Peaches.
yeah, please, this peach is so fucking weird. Oh, it was something like she told me to, I think it was like choke her to death because she was going to jump. She said, if he told me to jump, I would.
Oh, yeah.
And which is important. But I don't remember how it was that he said to kill her, but like she described it.
To choke her and to watch her eyes go blood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ugh, such a good line.
Framing.
Too.
I mean, I know that it was center. They were center in the frame, but it almost threw me off. I got very disoriented during that whole thing.
Creepy.
But
I liked it.
extremely talented monologue. Like,
good on her, man.
Best performance I've ever seen from her.
She's great. Yeah.
You know that every actress is going to be pulling that out at their auditions now.
At their UCLA theater, film, and television audition.
But that was extremely well done and very, very disturbing. But I love the line of like, now that I've seen him, I never want to forget him, which at the same time, I'm like, if I saw him and I would like to forget that, please.
Well, it's like you don't even see him. So you don't really know for sure what he looks like at this point, but it gives you chills because you can just imagine.
But she's also dropping hints at this point.
Mm-hmm.
She's talking about, she's like, well, do you remember getting a doll? She's like, nope. And you don't either. And
Fuck yeah. I forgot about that.
Oh.
And, she's talking about like how, and this is sort of when we see what happened to her family. And like, she talks.
Oh, I love those scenes though.
Oh, this shot's so well. It gives me the goosebumps just thinking about it.
Oh my gosh.
The framing of the dad, and it's only because I watched those specific scenes were in the trailer. I watched those so many times and then had to reorient them for social media versions for TikTok and for Instagram. And I chose them all the time because of how beautifully framed they were, that when you crop them, it was still fucking perfection. And then seeing it on the big screen was also kind of crazy to be like, I've seen this scene a billion times.
Crucifix was center place. And every time they showed this with the eyes, it was like, wait, that was that, right?
Yeah.
That was that. And like the eyes, just the subtle orange eyes, like that was the one part in the whole thing that just gave me goosebumps.
And then the dad in the doorway frame and the mom getting with like, and her hand pops up, like all of that was so well done.
I love when she's like, my mom never liked me much because she said I came out wrong. And you see her mom like in her like granny panties with like a knife, like,
oh yeah, just
at
sitting in
her-
the corner.
like,
And then stabbing the doll in the stomach, which
Yeah.
is also like super fucked up when you like blame your kid for having a C-section.
Well, because the doll was the kid, right?
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
and then like she's like stabbing it just
Because she
multiple
wanted
times.
to murder her
Right.
kid.
And then the shot of him like with the cow's head like chopped. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, that part was fucked. He murdered all the cows. He killed
all
them
the
all.
cows. He killed all the cows.
That was real dark.
and I love when you see the priest walk in and he like does like a double take in the bedroom.
Yes.
And then just like, he's like, I'm going to pretend I don't see that and just walk forward.
It's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, see ya. Big gulps, huh? Well, see you later.
Yeah, the priest is like, I don't know what I walked into. Gee golly whiz, I guess I should go.
Like, and in my head, I'm like, is he looking at, because he's not looking at the dead mom, 'cause she dies after. It's either the mom, which I know we're not there yet, so I don't know if we want to talk about that.
Oh.
Because then they show her getting splattered with blood later. And
God,
I
I wish
think,
I saw this again before we did this. This is definitely a 2-time watch movie, at least.
No,
Yeah.
or he could be looking at the creepy ass doll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one or the other, but they do show her shots like when she's revealed getting hit by blood in the Camera family farm. So I kind of feel like she was sitting there and he's like, you're not in my fucking church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys cheating on me with another nun?
That makes sense.
And it's just like, yeah.
Ugh.
But yeah, you see how her family is slaughtered and, you know, she was supposedly at school, but I'm just like, why did she survive? I have questions that aren't answered.
That whole part was very confusing to me. But again, it's because I literally like didn't pay attention for 10 seconds and then I was lost with that whole.
Yeah, because this was a movie. Like I was looking at every aspect of the screen and you could not turn away because you would miss something.
Yeah.
Right.
The whole film.
Right.
This is not something I'm going to be able to sit and watch with my phone on, like just being like.
The Run P app said to go to the bathroom right before the camera scene or else you'd miss it all. So.
Yeah.
The Run P app should have been like, don't fucking move, pee beforehand.
Piss your pants, wear a diaper, and just get on with it.
Yeah. This is when Carter is like, you know something? This case was like cold before you came along. And as soon as you come on, everything's flowing like hot lava.
Yep. Which is why in the premiere he said we call him Hot Lava when talking about
Blair Underwood.
But I just thought it was because that guy's hot. Like,
yeah. Right.
Yes,
I mean, I would call him Hot Lava.
Yeah, it did not even bat an eye. I was like, yeah, that's a great nickname for him.
So sexy.
And like at this point, I think he's losing faith in Lee. He's just like, you're a suspect. And he's like, you know, I went back and read your file. And did you know in like 1970, whatever, the cops were called to your house because there was an intruder and blah, 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 blah. And you know, your birthday is January 14th. And
you haven't mentioned any of this.
Yeah. And so he's like, I think you need to go visit your mom and see what she remembers.
Which, like, the FBI would know because they do incredibly strong profiling on suspects and their agents alike. Obviously, they're going to know every fucking thing. And if the cops were called to your house, that's kind of a big red flag that doesn't go away. It's not a juvie record, but also they would probably know your juvie records if you were being, going after you with FBI.
That's true.
But I just love him behind the desk of just being like, yeah, go talk to your mom. Like, let's maybe something's happening. And I don't. Yeah, if it's like you're a suspect or you literally don't know. I don't know what he thought at that point of being. I think
I mean, the chances of like bringing an FBI agent onto a case that they're involved with, slim to none. I mean, that's more than, it's a coincidence or whatever.
But they brought her on. She didn't approach it. She didn't ask for it. So it's kind of, at what point is he like, is this a coincidence? Is this, he made the decision to bring her on. It's not like, or unless she was like forced on him by the higher ups, but I feel like that was the case, they would have mentioned it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just like one of those things where of course he's going to be like,
I mean, I think he's a little sus at this point, but she goes to visit her mom and she had a phone call with her earlier in the movie too, which
at the
payphone,
like
liminal spaces.
I know. I thought the liminal spacing too.
Right.
And it's interesting, like, like the light from upstairs and the red from outside.
Because she was talking to her mom on the phone. I forget what scene this was.
It's a payphone.
It was
That's all I remember. Yeah.
Right. But there was just that staircase and the way it was shot. It's like, this is very unnerving. And it was another weird, awkward conversation where her mom says the same thing about like,
you say your prayers.
Did you say your prayers?
Do you say your prayers? And are you coming home for your birthday?
Yeah.
She brings that up too.
Okay.
But yeah, then she goes, sees her mom, which also I did not know this actress was in the film until I saw the film. Well, until I saw her. Yeah, Alicia Witt, until I saw her at the premiere. But at the same time, I was like, you're in this?
Yeah.
And especially her playing such an older character, which like good job on the makeup.
Yeah,
she looked great.
I mean, people might recognize her mostly from Urban Legend. She was also in the Exorcist TV show. She was in Walking Dead briefly. I love her. She's great.
She's really good. And she's gorgeous still, not aged a day.
No, stunning. That dress was great. Like she was wearing it. It was not wearing her. She was wearing that dress. She looked amazing. But yeah, I love Urban Legends. I just forgot about that. She looks so good in Urban Legend. But yeah, and her playing the mom, and this is part of the whole, like, I really hope my mother never finds this podcast, but like this part was giving me so much fucking trauma. Like I was just sitting there like,
I've never met your mom. But it is the vibe that I get of your mother.
I kind of thought that too. But I feel like anybody who was raised with that environment, because Ryan, I could tell he was getting real uncomfortable because he was just like, Like it was just, but yeah, I got that vibe a little
That
bit.
house was upsetting as soon as I saw.
Well, she was like this hoarder house. Oh,
but you don't see it as bad at first. But when her mom's sitting there, and then you start to notice everything behind her, and I was just like,
yeah,
fuck.
Watching her, Fortune 500 or whatever.
Well, and it does it. It gives you that sort of it goes back to that kind of liminal spaces type thing where you're hearing a nostalgic sound that and it gets more into it later, but you're hearing TV shows that you grew up with. You can close your eyes and you can see that TV or hear it or remember being in the next room playing with your toys or something. So it is very unsettling.
Yeah. And last time I went back to stay with family before my grandmother passed, it was they only watched old TV shows.
Oh, weird.
Was it like, do they watch sermons and stuff? Or are they
we are not a religious family, thank God.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Satan. No, I was raised agnostic.
Okay.
Maybe like a little pagan, but
I don't know why I thought you were raised
because I have enough religious trauma just from other like babysitters and stuff and like people trying to force it on me. But no, I was actually raised extremely agnostic. Like when you die and your body rots in the ground agnostic. But the like never leaving a space and having it be because something traumatic happened in your life and you're stuck there, and growing up extremely poor, which also can contribute. It's like a trauma reaction is where the hoarding comes from. And so like seeing that, and so obviously something fucking happened to the mother, but then you also think about Harper's house. That's her name, right? Yeah.
Harker.
Sorry. Harker's house, which was, even though it was a gorgeous house, it was also
empty.
It was empty.
Yeah.
So that is something, if you grew up that way, like it's not for everybody, but it's like we said, like you can either get stunted or you grow up too fast.
Right.
You can be promiscuous, or you don't want anyone to touch you. You can go the way of like you follow and you start hoarding as well, or you don't want anything.
Yeah, there's actually another movie coming out this year called Hoard, and that's starring Joseph Quinn.
Don't
it's
like
a
it.
Very it's all about that.
That's terrifying.
That's gonna be
and
rough.
also, if you watch Hoarders, that's a horror show. That's horror.
Would never.
But if you look really deep into it, it could also be psychologically. Lee doesn't have any memory. She doesn't remember that, but the mom remembers everything, holds on to everything.
But it's like even like she goes in the other room and she finds like a bag of her teeth that her mom kept.
Oh yeah, that was one of the things that I read about. Is that those are real. They are from the crew.
What?
Okay, I read it and then I thought I saved it on like TikTok and like because it was someone screenshotting these articles. So if I get this wrong, and I'm going to try and find it, essentially it is crew members like baby things, because Osgood Perkins talked about how his mother saved all of his teeth growing up. And so he had the crew bring in like their personal stuff, and it was almost cut from the film. But he said it was so personal to the crew and to him that he needed to keep it in.
Oh, geez.
And I mean, yeah, it doesn't have any. It doesn't move the story forward, but it gives you an insight into this person.
Right.
Well, like I remember my mother wouldn't let me cut my hair growing up. Sorry, personal story time. My mother would not let me cut my hair growing up. So I had like extremely, extremely long hair, and I had very thin hair. So it wasn't a good look, and I hated it. I fucking hated it. And I worked at a salon, and one day I went in and I was like, I'm going to cut 3 inches off. I'm going to be such a badass. I'm going to rebel, and I'm going to cut 3 inches off. And they put my hair in a ponytail, and they went like, your hair's long enough to do locks of love, and literally had down to my ass hair. And then I was like, how much would you need to cut off? They just cut it off, and they handed me this much, and they gave me a bob. And I had never felt so fucking liberated in my life.
Oh, wow.
And my mother went into the salon I worked at, and she demanded the hair back, and she kept it.
No.
And I was grounded. It was like a whole fucking thing, and she kept my hair.
Really?
So there's definitely a box of my fucking DNA and baby teeth and all that somewhere.
No,
and
you can do magical spells with that.
You could. I am readily available to curse if you ever find my fucking home, or if my mother finds this podcast and she is going to hex the shit out of me. But like that's the thing. Like she wouldn't even let go of my hair. Like the hoard situation was that bad that she needed to take it back. And I did not understand it like growing up or in high school. I'm pretty sure I was like 15, 16 at the time that this happened.
Like a control thing. She didn't want you to grow up just like, Lee's mom was like, you grew up too fast.
Yeah. I mean, it's all those things, but like that's so real. And that everything in there, I was just like, just stop it. Leave me alone, movie. But yeah, that is an incredibly personal thing.
Yeah.
So those things of this movie being batshit, but also deeply rooted in trauma realism
and
was
that's
like
something I want to talk about later when we talk about the ending, something I read. But at this point, she finds the teeth, and that's when she sees the door, right?
No, she decides to go cook for her mother.
Oh, she's okay.
Downstairs. And like at that point, I think her mom was like, "Can you tell me the truth if you said your prayers?" And she's like, "Never once, not even, they scare me." And her mom actually laughs.
Yep.
But yeah, she goes downstairs to cook her lunch in this like nasty kitchen, and she sees like a giant roach crawl from under a door, and she starts to approach it and find the keys, and then her mom hollers to her, and she doesn't look, which maybe she should have.
Oh my god. Because then she goes to her room, and I love how this is the kind of scene where you're like, okay, what can I find the background? What things might give some insight? And I love how by the chest that she opens for the photos, there's that whole board that's like butterfly metamorphosis. It's like, is this some deeper meaning?
I think we did when they were arguing the whole you're lucky to have grown up and got him older because of what she did for you.
Yeah.
We don't know what that means, but it's like it's big.
Oh shit.
Yes. And sorry, the air just went off. Yeah, so then they're talking about if she ever remembered someone coming to the house, and she's like, no one came here, not once, not ever. And like is very like, she shuts the fuck up about it.
Yeah.
And then she's like, but I never got rid of anything in your room. All of your stuff is still there.
That's right.
And pristine.
Yes.
It's untouched.
Yeah.
Versus every other room in that house is packed to the gills with things, but her room is untouched.
And one of the things I noticed, and I don't know, I'm not smart enough to know what the meaning is. They show her old toy chest as like a flashback, and next to her there's like a poster she must have made for school that was the life cycle of a butterfly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know the significance, but I feel like there is something.
That's that caught my attention.
I think maybe it's the doll and the thing, because it's like the doll and the silver ball is like a cocoon.
Maybe. I mean, there has to be a reason. And I feel like this is a movie where there's a reason for like childhood.
And it could even be one of those things like it might have been something that like Osgood Perkins made when he was a kid.
Right.
I don't know why
his
it was
mom
there.
kept it.
But it was there, and it wasn't in the modern when she's like back in real time. And so she finds the big toy chest, she takes it home, she finds the picture of the man.
Well, and then all of a sudden it's like she has this like, it hits her in the face practically.
Yeah.
But we don't see it.
And that's when we have the flashback, right? Is that when there's like
her taking the picture? Yeah.
When her mom comes up to her and is like, excuse me, who are you? And what are you doing talking to my daughter? Like,
back when things were normal.
Right. In the
And then shit goes bad.
Because now they start that with the birthday girl section.
Okay. Because it was like, that's the point where you realize, she's the one from the beginning, the kid from the beginning.
Yeah. So like, she takes the Polaroid to the FBI, is like, this is who you're looking for. And they're like, are you sure you want to start a manhunt with this Polaroid? She's like, I'm sure. And then this is when we finally get to see Nicolas Cage in all of his glory, like wide shot. You get to see his amazing boots. Like,
yes, the whole shebang.
This is like hitchhiking on the side of the road.
These are so
waiting for a bus.
Suitcases. Just
the fuck is in those suitcases?
Notes. They said they were stuffed with satanic writings. And one of them is like a guitar case, right?
I thought they were both suitcases, but maybe.
But yeah, so, they bring him in, and then they do this all hands on deck FBI meeting, and where he's talking about Lee, which must have been really embarrassing and weird for her.
Well, and that was the first, because he's on the TV and he's talking, he's doing some weird Charles Manson gibberish shit.
Yeah.
And
very Manson-esque.
This is the point when I looked down and I was writing a note and I was like, wow, this is Peter Lowe from Vampire's Kiss. And that's like the only time I heard Nick Cage. And that's only because I think I was so stressed that maybe I had to hear that. And then I thought, The last burlesque show I did with WTF Lask before the pandemic hit was the Nick Cage show. And I thought, wow, when they bring that back, I think I know what I'm doing now. I think I know exactly what I'm going to do.
Well, forgive me for not going.
Get ready for some bang-a-gaw.
Yeah,
Exactly. It writes itself.
You ain't seen nothing yet. But yeah, anyway.
Put ciphers
It's just
on your
his
nipples.
mouth. Yeah. Just his mouth surrounding your nips. Ciphers all over. Oh, this is
Ciphers
great.
everywhere.
Boom. Done. You better get on this now because someone's going to hear this and steal that idea.
Oh, there already are. But
But I also love that when they freeze frame, when they're like, all right, we got to stop listening to that. And they freeze frame. It's just.
yeah, this horrible sight.
I love that they frame it so that when Agent Carter sits in front of the TV, it looks like Nick Cage like screaming at him.
Yes.
But it's also the same image that she saw as a little girl. It's the same amount of face.
Yeah. Oh God. And right when they cut him off before the credits too, he's like screaming like that.
I like, she's like screaming happy birthday. He's like, when do I get to see Lee? And then he's like singing to her. And then
this goes on for 30 minutes. And she's just like,
they said, how long did that go?
Minutes.
24.
Yeah. How long did this go on for? 24 minutes. And like everyone, if I were in that FBI room, I'd be like, Lee, who the fuck are you? Like,
right?
What is this?
And then they're like, everybody dismissed. And she's like kind of turning and they're like, except for you.
Yeah.
Lee, you stay.
No, not you. You think you're getting out of this that early? This guy just sang you a 24-minute birthday serenade that we had to listen to. So you're sitting here. You're suffering.
Yep.
But that scene.
And that's when Lee is just like, this isn't over. Like, because, Carter's like, we got him. We're done, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, this isn't over. His accomplice is going to kill again, blah, 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 blah. And he's just like, bitch, what are you talking about?
He's like, no, please let it be done.
Yes.
We have to stop this. This was not great.
And then she's like, where is he? Can I see him? And then they're like, he's right below your feet. I'm like, why are they talking so creepy?
Because he's the man
because
beneath
he's
the stairs.
Well, he's below her.
Yeah. Which comes back. Yeah. It's those little things where it's like small, but yeah, he's right.
You go back. Yeah, you have to go back and think about that. And
yeah.
Like, ooh. But we don't know that yet.
But that fucking scene is his magnum opus of being Longlegs, because what the actual fuck is that scene?
Yeah, she walks in and you see him for the first time. You see him in all of his glory.
Yeah, his medium shot.
Yeah.
And it's
one of the best Nick Cage monologues I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
And this is the only time it's the first time we get to see him full face, full everything. And he gets to talk more than he's talked throughout the movie.
He's so good in this. Just, I've never really been unnerved before, but it was his more subtle moments that I think got me, because there was points where he would turn his face and he would just like, you just saw the eyes and be like, like I forgot what he said, but.
Well, she says something like, who are you working with? And he's like, why don't you ask your mommy?
Oh yeah, mommy.
And then he like wishes her happy birthday and just like fucks his face up. Like, have you guys seen the movie Cam?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Similar.
No. Yes.
Similar.
Very similar. But like when
what?
that started happening, I was just like, what? Why?
I forgot what other movie. I'm thinking of another movie. Talk to me. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But
Good.
this, I mean,
when he became the ghoul from Fallout all of a sudden, the effects.
and he's just like, he's like fucking having tremors, like he's like in shock, but like spitting out his teeth.
And he's
like
saying, you'll never, I'm a part of everything or something. And like, I forgot what he said, but he's basically saying like, you'll never, it's not over. So I forgot.
He's like, I'm gonna be everywhere.
I'm gonna be everywhere. And then that's right before he does that. Isn't that when he's like, Hail Satan?
No, it's at the end of the movie.
No, he says it there too.
Oh, does
he says Hail Satan. And he winks. That's when he winks. So the makeup that they did on him, not the teeth coming out, disgusting. Him no longer having a nose because he smashed his face in.
Oh, yeah.
So gnarly. And her pinned against the wall, blood splattered.
It's like as if and in the trailers you think like, oh, someone shot themselves in the head or something. Like it splattered, that he was hitting himself that hard.
Yeah. But it was so good. Her reaction of like on the wall, it happening, people happening around her, because obviously everyone's got to go in. And then she's getting in trouble because she's like, we let you in here and he's dead now. Like,
well, and you said that there was an accomplice, like he's dead.
And Carter does not believe there's an accomplice. He's pissed that he lost the only link he had to these murders.
Because it wasn't just going to be like, oh, we got the guy. This was going to be a huge trial. This was going to probably be a promotion for him. This was going to be a whole big thing. And that's all shit out the window because the dude did not admit to anything. Yeah, we know of. Yeah. Like, he's saying happy birthday for 24 minutes. That's all they got. They don't have this case in the bag now.
The only thing they have is like ask your mother or something. Yeah. Like, that's the only thing they have.
And some dude's crazy rantings of a guy that is like, you know, did all this to him and no one's going to believe this guy. I mean, to be honest, he was probably going to get an insanity plea anyway, but whatever. And then they say that, well, the accomplice isn't Carrie Ann because she did what he said that she would do and what she told him she was going to do. And she jumped.
Yeah, she jumped.
I would jump from whatever she says. I would jump if he told me to. And she did it.
I'd be pleased as peaches to watch the ground come up to meet me.
Oh, what a line. What a line.
How well written.
Yeah, her entire monologue extremely well, and I love that I blocked it apparently because when you said it, I was like, oh, I forgot how gross that was and how visceral that was. And then she does it, and you can literally, I can picture it. Yep. When he was describing it, I pictured it. Messed up.
So now I think we're heading towards part 3 where shit kind of hits the fan.
Yeah. So
the lead into part 3 is a shit fan hitting spray everywhere.
As I said on our first reel of this movie, it's like a roller coaster ride straight into hell. Like the whole time we've been doing that click, 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 click. And this is the part where we're about to drop.
I mean, it starts with him smashing his face. And that's, you're like, and we're off.
Well, because I didn't. It's so crazy to think, OK, he just had that one scene pretty much like that was him. And then he's gone. Yeah. Like then no more. But the movie's still going on. So what more could we possibly get? And I love that. I was not expecting that.
But Agent Browning takes her back to her house and she's basically like, well, I'm not going to let you drive after what you just witnessed. Like, excuse me?
Because she's going to question her mom.
Right.
They're going to bring her in.
Yeah.
Because something has clicked. It's ask your mom. And Agent Carter already was kind of like, go ask your mom before. And now Longlegs says, go ask your mom. And so it's like, yo, maybe we need to ask your mom some things because obviously some questions aren't getting answered. Right. And she goes into the house and Agent Browning stays in the car and that was the scene I mentioned earlier where it was off center and as soon as people noticed and the mom is visible through the back windshield as a blur. And I don't know if she moved or maybe it was someone else like made a noise and she said something, but
that's why I thought she was the doll. I thought it was the doll at first moving, like she was holding it. I was like, what the fuck?
Well, the agent sees a glimpse of the car in the garage.
Yes.
And so our eye is on there and then we get the reaction of her seeing it. So that's what
we're focused on.
That's like, point A. Yeah. And then point B is this movement in the background of the mom. And so it takes an extra second to get to that. But when you do, I think that's why it hits so hard. Yeah. That's why it's so well made.
And her mom just pulling. I don't even remember how much we actually see, but we see her mom pulls the gun.
You see her pulling the gun. You don't see the splatter, but you see Lee's reaction.
You see it hit the front of the windshield.
And you see Lee's reaction.
It's Lee's POV from upstairs.
Yes.
And then she walks around to the other side and does it again. You're like, dude, there's no head left there.
Double tap. It's a horror movie standard. Got to do a double tap in case Agent Browning's a zombie.
You never, in Longlegs, you know.
It could be anything.
That it's a zombie movie.
But the image of Harker in the window, like the gasp and everything, that is in the she doesn't scream. That's in one of the posters, and that's really well done. Mm-hmm. That's a really good visual.
Well, I mean, from here on out too, from a character standpoint, like your direction is, okay, you don't know what the fuck is going on, but then all of a sudden your mom's in on it and, oh, hey, your mom just killed somebody and you saw it. She killed your partner or whatever. And then later on when she has to like do it to her, it's like, what? How do you just go through that whole cycle in your brain? And
Well, the next part's crazy because when she goes downstairs and she also sees through another, window type thing that her mom's got a gun aimed at a child. So when she runs out there with her gun, she realizes it's the doll of her.
Yep.
And then,
Yep.
Because Longlegs hand makes these dolls to look exactly like the little girls.
Well, and then she says, "You don't have to do it, Mama. Like he's gone. He's free, or like something
He's
like
dead.
that.
He's dead."
And then she's like, "You're free, baby. Psh. Like you're free too," or something like that.
She says he's free, but it's not like he's free. It's like he's free to
do whatever he wants.
Yeah, he's free to commit more atrocities. Yeah. And then you're free too. Blows the doll's head off. This gorgeous fucking black smoke.
It's like a fucking smoke monster from Lost comes out of the ball, the vag ball.
But I kind of want that. I want that as a moving screensaver of just
beautiful.
Like a doll's head with the smoke.
Shot.
That shot is gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's interesting because we first get the shot of the smoke out of the back of Lee's head, and then we get the close up really well done of the doll.
I almost felt, I don't know about you, but I felt that when she's like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden she just passes out. I felt that.
Because they've signaled throughout the movie of her getting migraines more and more.
Yeah.
There's a lot of her touching her head like that.
She's just cloudy, foggy, and then all of a sudden it's releasing. And she's like, what?
It's literal, everything that she blocked as a kid has now been opened.
Yeah. And then we get this we're in part 3, the birthday girls.
And you think part 3, how long is this movie? Yeah.
And then we get this voiceover type thing of her mom telling her about,
once there was this girl or something. It was
who nobody ever visited ever.
Yeah, how fucking sad is that story?
And
no big
one
bad
visited,
wolf.
no family visited me, no family visited us, no friends, no big bad wolf, and
except
it's
until this one day.
Yeah. That was rough. And then you see
flashback.
Yeah. So. And then you see the flashbacks, which is it's not, of course she's confronting a stranger who's talking to her daughter. And when no one ever comes to and talks to them, but then you get more of what happened after. And that's when you see that she's been hogtied.
Yeah. But at that point.
And then she was washing blood out of something, though. No, this was before then. You see a glimpse of her, a flashback of her washing blood out of something. And you're like, what?
But when she's hogtied, Lee's already you see Lee looks and then she just goes back in her room and sits down. That's when you see a Satan behind her. Obviously, the trauma was, I'm sure it was there, but it wasn't registering.
Well, that's the biggest Satan, right?
Yes.
So that was the obvious, it's here. So,
because they say that he puts a little bit of himself in the balls and that's what controls the brains or whatever.
I was going to make a sexual joke.
But also the framing in the door frame of the hog tying her is very similar to the framing of the Cameron family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we bring all that back and that all these murders are connected and everything, right. But she doesn't get murdered because she makes a deal.
Well, because, she said, "Who are you? What are you doing with my daughter?" Blah, blah, blah. She takes the picture. And was that the same flashback?
No, you're talking
oh gosh,
it goes back to it again outside, but
that's
her
right.
being "What are you doing with my daughter?"
That's right.
The flashback with the camera is the one when she figures out the Polaroid.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, so it's one of those things where he says in the police interrogation, it's either Crimson or Clover. So either and he says he's offered this to all the families where you can either be his accomplice and help him in his quest to help Satan, or you die. And she's the one who chose to fucking be an accomplice.
Well, she said, "Spare my daughter."
Yeah, spare my daughter. I'll do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And that's when we find out that he's the man under the stairs, literally under her stairs.
Literally the man downstairs. And the entire time that she was visiting her mom, going through the photos, everything, he was down there reading his Satan books, listening to T-Rex, kissing the dolls' foreheads, putting his essence in there. It's oh.
Well, and fuck, I lost my train of thought.
And that's when we find out about the nun, that she's dressed up as a nun.
Yes. And she's bringing these dolls into people's houses because they've won a prize from the church and it's a doll that looks like them and it's giving them to the birthday girls.
It's literally a Trojan horse.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And they were saying, how do they get in? It's got to be someone they trust. Who's more trustworthy to a religious family than a nun from your local church that you've never seen before?
Well, and back into the 90s, like that was still, it's kind of crazy to think in the early 90s. Well, no, but I'm saying like in the early 90s, you still weren't quite locking your doors all the time. Or you were trusting. If you saw a nun, you'd let the nun in, you know?
I don't know. I don't think I would have done it.
Until the 90s were... things changed.
Do you know where your children are?
Yeah.
Playing with nuns.
Your neighborhood watch with the fedora and
Jeebus. But so that's when we figured out the bigger picture on this, and then Harker wakes up in fucking Longlegs' bed.
Yeah.
Oh God, that must have been so terrifying.
And then she comes upstairs. That's when you really realize that was because she's going upstairs, and then she exits through the kitchen. It's like, oh
man, her mom's a dick.
Yeah.
Imagine the trauma of waking up in that guy's like serial killer's bed.
No, you asshole! Like, why would you do that?
She's like, I don't want to explain this part to you, so instead of putting you in your bed, I'm going to put you in that guy's. And while she's gone, while the mom's gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she's just there, and then
that creepy voice is like, you're missing Ruby's birthday, like, because she just remembered it was Ruby's birthday, so now she's like, oh shit.
Did she pick up the phone? The phone.
That's what wakes her up, right?
Yeah, the phone. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the phone wakes her up and says, you're missing Ruby's birthday or something like that.
Yeah, because she's been she's like stumbling around the house in still this like post metal ball explosion haze. Answers the phone, and then it tells her like, I have to go. And yep. So she goes to Ruby's house.
What the craziest part to me is she's, her partner's blood is all over the other car.
Yeah.
And so she's going to take Longlegs' car.
Because her mom took her car.
Yeah. So it's like her in Longlegs' fucking station wagon. I love the juxtaposition of like Longlegs screaming in the car earlier and then her screaming in the car later.
So well done.
Yes. I like, she rushes out there and she gets there and like...
This is when it gets real weird. Like, it almost feels like Lynchian in a way, like the way they're like, hi, because they're under the spell or whatever. I guess they're starting to get in that killer,
she gets to like Ruby's house, the Carter's house, Agent Carter's house.
It's like, hey, welcome.
Yeah.
You made it.
You made it.
Like, oh, you made it. Like, no big deal. Yeah. And sorry to yell at you earlier.
She's all disheveled and stuff, but nobody acknowledges it.
Got her gun out.
Like, yep.
No, but you can see something super wrong in the mom's eyes. The dad's starting to get like a weird head thing. Like he's like...
Yeah. And the mom's like, she's smiling so much that you're wondering, like, does she realize in the back of her head something's like she's trying to escape and break this?
No, she's smiling, but her eyes are not.
Right. Yeah. She's trying to like break out of whatever like happening. She knows something's fucked up. Like she's being controlled.
And they're like, oh, you're just in time to cut the cakes. Plural.
Yeah. Weird.
Cakes are people.
Okay.
Well, and when she's walking in, that's when she sees her mom with the nun and the doll. But like oh my God, Alicia Witt just has these like death eyes the whole time. Like, don't you fucking ruin this for me. Don't ruin this.
I have to continue my work but essentially she has to continue her work or her daughter dies.
I mean, at the end of the day, she's trying to
in her mind, she thinks
duty.
Her daughter. No? All right.
At this point, she says that if she doesn't continue the work, her and Lee are going to burn in hell. Oh. Like we're going to twist in the fire and blah, 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 blah. So she thinks that Satan is going to spare her for being such a good disciple if she keeps continuing the work. So she's fully she's bought in. It's
just so, it's interesting to me how... And I've never seen a movie where it's like, we have to do his work or else he'll burn us. But it's not God. It's the devil. It's like, no, we're doing the devil's work.
She is bought the ticket to the show. She is there for the rodeo at this point.
But the doll is terrifying.
Yes.
And the doll looks exactly like Ruby. Mm-hmm. And the dad is
like, he's just agitated. He's like, something's up. Like he's not doing well. And he's like, let's go to the kitchen.
And she's just telling him like to stop. Harker's just begging him to stop.
Yeah, like, don't do it. And then you hear the screams and then...
Well, it's like, I love this moment before that of them like sitting on the couch and she's just like, he's like, we're going to go cut the cakes. And she's like, yeah, we'll be right back. And he's like, I'll be right back. And she like breaks him. She's like, oh.
Yep.
And And then it's crazy. She doesn't even like try to save them. She just sits there arguing with her mom.
She doesn't. Yeah, she's not. She's just like, okay, well, that's going to happen. And I'm not going to do a lot about that
Right.
one. But
she
I'm going to
wants
protect
to
this
save the
little
kid.
girl.
Right.
Yeah, she's made her choice. She's like, I got one of you. And it's kind of like that one. Sorry, lady.
Oh my God.
I didn't bond with you in your bedroom. So
And she's like, the wife is already dead. And then
Yeah, the mom's like, fuck this. Like, she pulls out the knife. She's like, I'll do it. And like, just imagine being in that position where you're like, Mom, don't do it. Mom, don't do it. And like,
well, no, but first she has to shoot her boss.
oh, that's right.
yeah, because she's like, he's gonna kill the little girl
Right.
next.
Mhm.
And then she's like, not gonna let that shit happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like, I'm going to explain this to my
I don't
superiors.
even think I remember she shoots him like here and here. I don't even know if she like
I don't
She
think
shoots
she
him multiple
wanted
times.
to. Yeah.
but I don't think she like did a headshot or a heart shot or anything.
No.
She just takes him down.
Right, but like FBI, you're trained to shoot
Yeah.
to kill, but like you're also if you're trained to shoot to kill, you also know how to shoot not to kill.
I know. I'm just saying I looked at the shots and I was like, oh well, I'm sure he's dead, but maybe he's not.
Yeah.
Sequel. Please
Well,
no.
I have theories.
So and then she's forced to shoot her mother and like right in the fucking deads. Right there. Right there.
I know. And like, at that point, it was just, she wasn't thinking, she wasn't emotional. Like, she was doing her job. Like, she knew that if she didn't do that immediately, that mom was going to stab that child.
Because the mom had to
So,
complete the
right.
ritual.
So mom's down. She doesn't know what's happening. She tries to shoot the doll, but there's no more bullets.
Yeah.
She's trying to release the doll, and she's like, she tried like 4 times. Nope. And that kind of leaves it to, okay, so the work's never going to end, is it? It's like, oh, I love how they do it. It was such a dreadful ending.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was it. It just didn't. And she just like takes her and goes. But like,
That's it.
she's saving the little girl that's gone through what she went through, but in a different way.
well, in the last scene is Longlegs. He's sitting in the interrogation room and he's laughing because that was his victory. That was his one last victory. And it's just so dreadful because you're like, okay, it's not over. It's because he always said he's always going to be there. Like, he's always going to have something. Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan, blowing the viewers a kiss. One thing I will say, though, about the ending is I want to see it again because obviously I loved this movie. I thought it was so well made. It's one of the best horror movies I've seen in a long time. A little iffy on the straight up supernatural aspect of it. I thought, I would have loved to see that a little more subtle or done differently, but it didn't like negate how I felt about it or deter that. I read that Osgood Perkins actually, I kind of felt a little bit better about the supernatural stuff when I found out. Yeah. So the whole supernatural aspect of it was he wrote this. It was mothers telling stories to their kids about, hiding something. And because Anthony Perkins was gay and he died of AIDS related complications, but he never knew that. And so he wrote this about him kind of believing what his mom was saying, but not really knowing this until he grew up. And it was kind of metaphor. It was like a metaphor, right? And I think that's, I should look, I have the article up here. I could look it up and we could, I'll look up the article. I'll send it to you and then you can put it up because it's a really good article. But knowing that and how there was that personal angle to it made like whole other level.
Well, Nick Cage's mom, Osgood Perkins' mom.
There's a lot of personal stuff in this movie, and I did not expect that.
Yeah. Literal human parts of the cast are in this movie. Like, that's really crazy.
He's so good, man. I can't wait to see what he does next.
Well, he's doing The Monkey.
Yeah.
That's his next movie.
The Monkey!
Yeah.
That's a wrap.
All right. Now let's hear these theories you're telling us about.
All right.
Let's put your tinfoil hat on.
All right. Well, I have curiosities about who Lee's father is. She's the only person of all the birthday girls without a dad. When they do the thing with the pictures and she's the upside down triangle, she says father. Is the devil her dad? I don't know.
And that's why she's got these supernatural powers.
And there's also, I'm like, Oz Perkins says something about how Longlegs was like, it's like rock and roll guy who didn't set out to be a satanic serial killer. He was like tapped by Satan.
Interesting.
Did he actually know the family? Was he her dad?
Thought about
Was
that.
he a father-like figure to her in his own right, in his head? I don't know the answer to that, but I know that it's there somewhere. I know there's an intention there.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll ever straight out tell us what it was.
I don't think he will.
In the credits, as they roll backwards, you see a credit for an adult Ruby.
Oh,
Right?
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
There was an actress that was cast as her as an adult. Those scenes were shot. So were they cut because they didn't fit? Was there like a flash forward or something? I don't know.
Adult
or
Ruby.
is it because the sigil that she does for the inverted triangle actually has a second triangle with the things that come up? And I'm like, is adult Ruby the next triangle, the beginning of the next set of serial killer, of killings?
Okay.
And if so, is that setting up for a sequel?
Because she was spared.
I don't see Oz Perkins as someone who makes sequels, but
I would
there's
not want to see a sequel, but it's intriguing. The thought's intriguing.
Yes. So those were thoughts that I had, my tinfoil thoughts. Also, there's one more that I had about the devil handpicking Lee as the revelation angel at the end of the world, because they keep saying angel bitch and hark the herald angel. And there's the whole thing of the angel standing on the sands, she's the last one in Revelation, she sets off the events.
Wow. Religion. Was this the thing that gave you goosebumps at night, looking up all the religious?
I read Revelation this morning and I did not enjoy it. I had to it was a lot. So I had to old school highlighter it, because I was I can't I couldn't process the information quickly. But then when I did, I was like, well, maybe this is something there. And I'm sure there is. I feel like Oz Perkins is a smart man. I feel like everything he did had intention.
Yeah.
Are my thoughts tinfoily? Maybe, but worth thinking about.
You know what? Yeah, it's making you think. It's making you really think. And that's the sign of a good movie, in my opinion.
Well, but also the revelations and
Revelation singular.
Oh, yeah.
She says it in the movie. It's a line from the movie.
Oh, I was like, I didn't go to fucking Catholic school. What do I know? No, it was such a big part of the guerrilla marketing, the viral marketing, and it was not as predominant in the film. It was mostly dealing with the Satan side. So maybe this is that makes sense if that it was something that was shot or something that was cut or is definitely something that was thought out. So if there is going to be more to the story, then we've got the Satan side. Are we now going to get what happens at Revelation? Are we getting the angel side?
I mean,
bonus features.
Maybe he just wants you to think about it. I think
that's it. I really do think I
don't see him as a sequel guy, but there are things that made me question it, because those are why would he usually if someone's scene gets cut, they don't get credits. So why is that there still? So,
well, that's Longlegs.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff to think about.
I wonder, I don't know how long it's going to take for this movie to come out to streaming or who's going to get it, because I don't think Neon is exclusive with any platform at this point. So it's anyone's game. Whoever's brave enough to take this film on at that point. Prime. Shudder, please. Screambox.
Doubt it.
I know. Got that Screambox money.
Marry, fuck, kill. Lee, Longlegs, or Ruth.
Longlegs for them all.
Yep. Longlegs for them all. And then Blair Underwood just on the side.
Hot lava.
Hot lava.
But yeah, I will watch this movie again, but it's going to take some time. That movie was stressful. I think if I was wearing, they did that social media of when Micah Monroe first saw Nicolas Cage's Longlegs. And I think if I'd been wearing a heart rate monitor throughout this would have been a stress test.
I thought about that too. I thought you don't think about that when you're watching a movie, but this one I actually found myself feeling my heart pound. I was like, wow, nothing's happening. Why is my heart pounding?
I burned some calories through this movie. And
watch this movie to burn some calories.
Yeah.
But yeah, highly recommend it. it's a great movie. And whatever your definition of scared is, what scares you the most is subjective, but it's full of dread. The atmosphere is amazing. It's filmed amazing. So do not go without seeing it if you can help it.
Yeah. And, it's one of those movies that people are going to love it or they're going to hate it.
And that's okay.
And yeah, I think going into it with the mindset of you're going to watch a really good movie versus you're going to watch a really good horror movie.
Yes.
Because it's like a lot of the movies we've covered this month. It straddles the line of thriller versus horror. And, be prepared.
It's a great, well done. Well done, Osgood. Osgood Perkins.
Well done to the entire cast and crew and everyone who worked on this, because all in all, I mean, everyone's dedication is what made this film.
Oh, it's such a well-made movie. And Daddy Longlegs. So that was that. That was our third entry into Serial Killer Summer. So thank you for joining us. This has been a wild ride. Next week, we'll be back with another relatively modern classic. See if you can guess what it is. So be sure to check this out on Thursdays. We're out Thursdays wherever you get your podcasts.
So if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to check out our Patreon where you can watch the full uncut long ones that will probably embarrass us.
Please make sure to follow us on our socials, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. So like, subscribe, click the bell for video episodes where you get to see cosplays like all this.
If you want to know what Longlegs looks like, just watch the video.
Oh, yeah, we're like this is the Temu version.
We're Temu Longlegs. We're the Wish version of Longlegs. If you ever wanted your kid's birthday party, we're here for hire.
If you want to watch Longlegs drinking pina colada as well, look no further.
In case that's ever been a theory or a fun little kink of yours.
Well, until next time, sweet screams, everyone.
And whatever you do,
don't fall asleep first.
Mommy!